So let's start off with a relatively straightforward example here. I'm going to integrate these, and the bounds are already given to us, dx, dy, dz. So I'm going to take this first piece, and if you've seen me do this sort of thing before, I'm going to take this as part number one, and I tend to break these up and do them one by one. So I'm going to take a look at the integral from 0 to y of z e to the negative y squared dx, which is obviously, this is all a constant. So I'm just going to have this times x evaluated from y to 0. So that's simply going to give me z times y times e to the negative y squared. So the next piece will be the integral from 0 to z of zy e to the negative y squared, this time with respect to y. So this is an obvious straight u substitution. So I'm going to let u equal negative y squared. That implies that negative du over 2 equals y dy, which is exactly what I have sitting here. So this will give me the integral of z e to the u du, which equals z e to the u. Whoops, forgot my negative 1/2. Need to put that in there. So it's negative over 2. And that is a negative z e to the negative y squared over 2. And this is going to be evaluated from 0 to z, which will just give me negative z e to the negative z squared over 2 minus minus, so I'll say plus z at 0, this is just going to be 1, so this is simply going to be z over 2. So now I need to work out this third piece, which is the integral from 0 to 1 of z over 2 minus z times e to the negative z squared over 2, finally dz. Scoot down just a little bit. So it may be easier to just break this up a little bit here from 0 to 1, z over 2 dz minus the integral z e to negative z squared over 2 dz. Well, this is just going to be, yeah, that's that piece, obviously. Z squared over 4, evaluated from 0 to 1, which is just simply a fourth. This, I'm going to do the same u substitution sort of thing. So if I let u equal negative z squared, then negative du over 2 equals z dz. So double negative gives me a positive. So I'm going to have a 1/4 times the integral of e to the u du, which is just 1/4 e to the u, which is obviously 1/4 e to the negative z squared, evaluated from 0 to 1, which is going to give me, 1/4 times e to the negative 1 minus 1/4. So now if I put all these together, I'm going to end up with 1/4 plus 1/4 e to the negative 1 minus 1/4, which is simply 1 over 4e. Now, there may be a more logical way for you to do this integral. I mean, I like breaking this up into 3 separate pieces and then putting it all back together when I'm done. To me, it's a lot easier to keep track of what I'm doing.